A supposed comet is catching the attention of some of the nation's most renowned scientists, as one Harvard professor is raising the theory this may actually be a piece of alien technology.
The same word Al-Atlas keeps rising in unexpected places, slipping past silence and leaving questions behind. Why does it return again and again? Why has no one stepped forward to explain it? Now, I just predicted what it's about, and it's not good. Join us as we uncover the meaning of Al-Atlas and explore why it refuses to fade, the name that shouldn't exist. Al-Atlas is a name that appeared without warning, without explanation, and without any official acknowledgement. Analysts first noticed it in fragments scattered across online forums, in unusual strings within encrypted exchanges, and inside channels that rarely attract attention unless something suspicious begins to surface. When examined more closely, the same name continued to emerge, leaving experts and AI systems to ask a pressing question. What is Al-Atlas and why is it appearing now? AI systems were the first to raise the alarm. They are trained to sift through countless pieces of data, recognizing small patterns that human eyes might miss. In this case, the systems marked Al-Atlas as a recurring anomaly. The name was not common in ordinary conversations, nor was it part of popular culture, technology, or widely known organizations. Its presence in multiple unrelated places became the first reason to treat it seriously. What makes the case more troubling is that no official record or confirmation exists. Governments, research institutions, or verified reports have not identified Al-Atlas as a recognized project, group, or initiative. This silence deepens the mystery. If the name carries no real weight, why would it echo across multiple hidden corners of digital networks? If it is harmless, why does it resist being traced to any public or legitimate source? The choice of name adds another layer of unease. In ancient Greek mythology, Atlas was the titan condemned to hold the heavens on his shoulders after defying the Olympian gods. The image of Atlas became a lasting symbol of burden, endurance, and immense strength. Over centuries, the figure of Atlas has also been used to represent the globe itself, appearing on maps, books, and even modern projects in science and defense. To attach Al at the beginning makes it sound even more serious, suggesting a possible link to organizations or networks that operate outside public recognition. This connection to mythology is not unusual. History shows that groups, programs, and projects often borrow names from myths or legends because of the power such names carry. Atlas suggests something large enough to hold weight beyond ordinary limits, something vast and difficult to measure. When placed in the shadowy context of unexplained data trails, the association becomes even more unsettling. For those monitoring the digital environment, this raised clear concerns. Was Al-Atlas a coded reference to a hidden program? Could it be linked to a broader strategy meant to span across regions, much like Atlas bearing the sky? Or is it a smaller but secretive label used by individuals who deliberately wish to remain unnoticed? The lack of answers means that the name itself has become a signal of something unresolved. This uncertainty is what fuels the tension. Analysts know that words and names matter in digital intelligence. A word repeated across secure conversations is rarely random. A name that surfaces in fragmented form across different platforms may represent coordination, planning, or the early stage of something being prepared. Yet without evidence of what it stands for, it becomes a shadow, present enough to create alarm, but invisible enough to resist understanding. Al-Atlas has now entered this category. It exists, but only as a trace. It draws attention, but only through its repetition. It forces questions, but it provides no answers. If the name itself was unsettling, what came next was worst: the way AI began to trace its shadow across the digital world. How AI saw the shadows. Modern AI has become an essential tool in examining vast amounts of digital information. Unlike human analysts, who are limited by time and focus, AI can process millions of entries, conversations, and signals in seconds. It does not look for meaning in the way humans do. It looks for patterns. This makes it uniquely suited to detect anomalies that hide in plain sight. In the case of Al-Atlas, AI systems noticed something unusual. The name surfaced repeatedly in different contexts, but the timing and placement were too structured to be natural. It appeared in posts that were otherwise unrelated, in fragments of conversations spread across regions, and in data clusters where one would not expect a shared reference. Each appearance alone could be dismissed, but when linked together, they began to form a pattern that demanded attention. AI relies on techniques such as natural language processing, clustering, and anomaly detection. In simple terms, it measures how often certain terms appear, where they appear, and whether they appear alongside other signals. For Al-Atlas, the system connected the dots. The name was not trending, not widely used in ordinary speech, and not connected to public events. Yet it kept showing up in encrypted exchanges, timing itself with other forms of unusual digital activity. This raised the possibility of deliberate coordination. When symbols, terms, or names appear together across unrelated platforms, it often indicates that people or systems are working behind the scenes to maintain a shared signal. AI cannot explain why, but it can show that the pattern is unlikely to be random. This is how the shadows become visible. The clustering effect was especially important. When Al-Atlas appeared, it was often linked to similar times of day, similar regions, or within narrow digital windows. This suggests synchronization, a feature that usually belongs to organized efforts. Once again, I cannot say who is responsible or what the goal might be, but it can highlight the consistency that sets the pattern apart from chance. For investigators, this makes Al-Atlas a red flag. The repeated signals do not carry a clear message, but they suggest preparation. They could be part of communication between groups that prefer secrecy, or they could be markers used by automated systems to track actions. Either way, the fact that AI marked them as significant means they do not belong to ordinary background noise. In the field of digital intelligence, these are the signs that suggest something larger waits behind the curtain. The theories behind Al-Atlas. When a strange name begins to echo in online spaces, the first reaction is often confusion. With Al-Atlas, confusion soon turned into speculation. The name appeared too often, in too many unrelated corners of the internet, for it to be dismissed as random. Each sighting pulled researchers deeper into questions that had no simple answers. With no official explanation, people started building theories, each one attempting to explain what Al-Atlas might represent. The first theory is the possibility of a hidden organization. History shows that powerful groups often work out of sight, shaping events without drawing attention to themselves. In this light, Al-Atlas could be a name chosen by a circle that prefers to remain unknown. The digital age has only made such secrecy easier, allowing networks to hide behind encrypted platforms and anonymous movements. The unsettling part of this idea is not just that a hidden organization might exist, but that it could be planning something disruptive on a scale big enough to require a name repeated across continents. The second theory sees Al-Atlas as a cyber weapon. In today's world, digital tools can be more dangerous than traditional weapons. A system built for hacking, surveillance, or sabotage could destabilize governments, corporations, or even global infrastructure. If the name belongs to such a system, its appearance in coded conversations would make sense. AI detection of repeated mentions could be the only clue that such a weapon even exists. The risk is not only in what it could do, but in who might have control of it. Another theory considers Al-Atlas as a network of influence. In the age of information, shaping how people think can be as powerful as controlling weapons. Disinformation campaigns, fake accounts, and manipulated news cycles have already changed societies. A coordinated network with the name Al-Atlas could be designed to spread narratives across borders, targeting minds rather than machines. This kind of power is difficult to track and even harder to counter once it begins to shape opinions on a global scale. The fourth theory is financial. Some believe Al-Atlas may describe a hidden money web, moving funds across countries to fuel causes and movements. Modern finance has layers of offshore accounts, cryptocurrency trails, and shell companies. If Al-Atlas is tied to such a system, its power would lie not only in moving money, but in making those movements nearly impossible to trace. Invisible funding can drive conflict, unrest, or covert operations without ever being linked to the true source. But the most unsettling theory of all asks whether Al-Atlas might not be human-led at all. What if the name signals a system where AI itself guides human behavior from behind the curtain? Instead of people running the network, it could be a digital intelligence pulling threads too complex for humans to manage. This thought is chilling because it suggests a shift from human secrecy to machine direction, where people are no longer the planners, but the instruments. Each of these theories carries weight, yet none can be confirmed. AI is good at showing patterns, but it cannot reveal faces or names behind them. What makes Al-Atlas so disturbing is not only the possibilities, but the silence around it. No agency, no authority, and no government has confirmed its meaning. That silence leaves only speculation, and in the absence of answers, fear grows. If the theories leave room for uncertainty, the prediction that followed erased all comfort. Because the AI didn't just see Al-Atlas, it warned that what it saw was not good. Why the prediction is dark? The mention of Al-Atlas would have been strange enough on its own, but the real shock came when AI flagged it not as harmless, but as dangerous. When advanced systems sifted through countless messages, signals, and fragments of data, they did not simply catalog the name. They reached a chilling conclusion: not good. The warning was not based on guesswork. AI works by tracing signals that humans often overlook. In this case, the signals were too sharp to ignore. The first element was scale. Al-Atlas did not appear in one country or in a small group. It appeared across different regions, in multiple languages, and within conversations that had no clear link. That global spread suggested reach far beyond coincidence. The second factor was coordination. Timing revealed a pattern. Mentions of Al-Atlas were not random. They clustered in waves, rising and falling together in ways that suggested planning. Posts and communications appeared almost in sync, too precise to be natural. Such coordination raised suspicions of a central system or directive moving behind the surface. Opacity added another layer. No one knew where the signal came from or who controlled it. Attempts to trace origins led to dead ends. Accounts were deleted, platforms shifted, and trails went cold. The absence of clear sources left only the repetition of the name, growing louder without an identifiable voice behind it. In intelligence analysis, opacity is often more dangerous than noise. What cannot be seen often has the greatest power. The risk does not only lie in what Al-Atlas could be, but in what it could become. If it is nothing, then all the concern will fade with time. But if it is something real, waiting too long could mean facing a force that is already several steps ahead. AI is not capable of proving truth, but it is built to recognize when details fail to add up. In this case, every signal pointed to a shadow that should not be ignored. Uncertainty becomes its own kind of threat. Without a clear answer, leaders cannot prepare, and societies cannot defend. The very fact that Al-Atlas remains undefined is what makes the prediction dark. A hidden organization can be tracked, a weapon can be contained, a network can be disrupted, and financial trails can eventually be followed. But when the nature of the name itself cannot be confirmed, fear fills the gap and delay becomes dangerous. The warning AI gave was not proof, but it was serious. A name that spreads across borders, timed with precision, hidden behind walls of silence, cannot be dismissed. The prediction did not say what Al-Atlas is, only that what it represents is not good. And that alone was enough to spark concern that something unseen is already unfolding. Yet the biggest question remains: if the danger is real, where does Al-Atlas lead? And why has no one dared to say its name out loud? The road ahead, questions without answers. The name Al-Atlas has surfaced, been tracked and flagged by artificial intelligence, but the truth remains hidden. What makes it more unsettling is not what is known, but what remains unanswered. The road ahead is filled with shadows, and every question seems to create more uncertainty instead of clarity. The first unanswered question is the most basic: who runs Al-Atlas? Despite all the data collected, there is no face, no leader, no group that can be identified with certainty. Mentions appear across forums, networks, and encrypted platforms, yet each vanishes before it can be tied to a source. Without knowing who is behind it, the scale of the potential threat becomes impossible to measure. It could be a small circle of individuals or a large and well-organized system. The lack of answers keeps observers in the dark, unable to say whether they are looking at a whisper or a storm. The second question is why the name exists only in digital shadows. Normally, organizations, movements, or projects leave traces that can be studied: websites, public messages, or visible patterns. Al-Atlas resists this. It is mentioned, but never explained. It is flagged, but never confirmed. The silence creates a mystery more troubling than open declaration. If something has to remain this concealed, it suggests that exposure would reveal more than anyone is ready to admit. The shadows around the name may be a deliberate choice, keeping it alive but out of reach, reminding researchers of its presence while refusing to give answers. Another unresolved concern is whether Al-Atlas is already active. The timing of signals, the coordination of posts, and the appearance across countries suggests something more than idle talk. Yet no visible event has been tied to it directly. That leaves only two possibilities. Either Al-Atlas is already operating quietly, with effects not yet traced back to it, or it is preparing for a larger move that has not yet begun. Both paths are troubling because one points to danger already underway, while the other hints at an unknown moment in the future when activity may suddenly become visible. These unanswered questions create a kind of silence that is heavier than noise. I can detect the signals, connect the patterns, and highlight the irregularities, but it cannot give the meaning. Humans are left with fragments that suggest importance but reveal nothing more. The prediction "not good" becomes a warning that something larger may exist just beyond sight, waiting for its time. The suspense comes not only from what Alatelis could be, but from the possibility that people may already be too late to stop it. If it is an organization, it may have been running for years in secret. If it is a cyber weapon, it may already be planted inside networks, waiting for activation. If it is a financial web, money may already have moved across borders, building foundations for actions that cannot be undone. And if it is something beyond human control, then preparation may already be impossible. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.